Hello, welcome back to the GLAC Studios oil painting tutorial. My name is Gomati Sivasankaran and we are in class 4 of the Radha Krishna painting. Uh, to recap what we have done so far, we have in class 1 we looked at the basic of the canvas. We understood a little more on uh, what to do when we have to buy a new canvas, especially from a professional work point of view. And we focused the class 2 a little more on the preparation of the canvas, which we did, um, using an yellow ochre base. The class 3 was more into strategizing and planning, where we had the picture, decided the kind of references that we are going to use, and also the challenges with the references, or maybe the changes with the references that we would want to go with. So that's what we did as a recap. So right now we are going into the next stage, which is the execution of the plan that we made in the class 3, isn't it? So now we get started with the step where we are doing the grids as decided. What did we decide in the class 3? We decided that we will split the canvas into a 10 by 10 box, which means this is a 60 by 80 centimeter canvas. So it's going to be 6 boxes versus 8 boxes. That's exactly what we are going to do in terms of gridding. So to do the gridding, what all products am I using? Let's look at the materials and then we'll get started with the grading. Today I have only one camera with me because this is not a detail level discussion. It's just a matter of gridding, and I guess this will be good enough. So in terms of the first material, it's only one camera and me. And the brush that I'm using, I like to have a simple brush around. I have a zero brush. You can have brush number 1 or 0, and it is definitely not a professional set of brushes. I do use the store bought brushes. Um, Luckily, the ones that I pick up are good enough, so I am pretty much happy with it. Um, I wouldn't know what would be really good to suggest in terms of professional brushes. I would say, if you are someone that is buying brushes for the first time, do not spend too much on it. If it is a soft synthetic brush, um, and you are getting a good range, that is good enough to start with. The quality of brush is something that matters, and you will see that when you lose a lot of hair in the brush while you are painting, that can tell about the quality of the brush, but it also has to do with the way you maintain the brushes. So doesn't matter, I could recommend you the highest quality, but if you do not maintain it properly, it's as good as just buying the store bought ones. You will easily see the hairs are lost, or it's just not good enough for reuse. So I think towards the end of the session I will try to include a discussion on how to maintain the brushes. So for now, the brush that I'm going to use for the splitting of the canvas, that is the gridding of the canvas, it's going to be brush 0. And I am taking burnt umber, and from the same brand, Winsor and Newton. Yep. And I'm not going to take too much of it. It's just a little bit that I have taken on my use and throw palette that I have. I have a little bit taken here. That's it. Um, that is more than enough. In terms of the oil, I didn't bother to take some more oil. Whatever I have left over from the last session, It's the same cold pressed linseed oil, raw linseed oil that is good enough for me. I don't see the need to take some more. That is more than enough. And to run the show, I need my tea. Yes, and that works. Aside from this, measuring devices. Yeah, you saw that my measuring devices are always dirty. Uh, this one is the local. You can find this measuring tool, which is the local measuring um, stick that you will get. It's a nice one, and if it's a wooden one, it has the power to handle all the pressure that you are giving in terms of the colors and so on, whatever. And so we already know the size of it. Do we? We know the size, isn't it? 60 by 80. It should be 60. So if I'm just in the corner of it, it's 59 and a half. What happened? What could have gone wrong? Nothing goes wrong. Usually, there is this. What did we see when we saw the first ever discussion on canvas? Did we see that the wood is holding, the wooden frame is holding the canvas? So the fold, or where I have put my finger, this bend, is that quarter centimeter. So it's 60. So when you look at it up front, it looks like 60. Yeah, it should be 60, but it looks like 59 and a half, and we are wondering what happened. No, that is. And the same thing will go for the 80 centimeter as well. You will see that it's 79 and a half or something like that. Why does it matter? Of course, it does matter. When we are doing the grids, even every single millimeter matters, isn't it? So just be aware of that. What I tend to do is that I know by default that when I put my finger here and then press it towards my finger, I will see a 59 and a half. I know that. So what I tend to do is to just gauge it with my eye. See, that's what I say. Always doing it manually helps. Gauging it with your own eye and then pushing it slightly so it's the quarter is adjusted. So I have the 30. That is to be the half of the canvas. It's coming up nicely. So right now I'm going to mark what is 10 and 20. 30 is just marked. 40 and 50. Have I marked it right? I'm checking again. Yes. I'm going to just do the same thing. Gouging it and placing it. I'll have to stand up. So there is this slight little bend, and that is just because of the the wooden frame, nothing else. Just keep that in mind. It's a minor thing. All these minor things matter somehow. If you're aiming for a high quality, which is always our quest as artists, it's important that we are working towards it from the get-go. Yes, so I'm just folding this. Right now, I'm going to start connecting these dots and drawing the line. So I'm able to. So when I draw the line, I tend not to use a pencil or a pen or something. There are people that prefer using that as well. I prefer not to use that because I have seen sometimes the lead in the pencil starts blending with the color, and I don't know what I'm going to paint on, but it will it might affect somewhere down the lane, and I'm concerned about it. So I tend not to um, use such a thing. In case you are slightly uncomfortable about using the paint and the brush for uh, layering or putting the grids, I would suggest that you use the pencil, but then not scratch too much of it. It must be very light. If you see, you from your angle, it should be very light on your eyes, that you are able to see that there is something here, but it's not so clear. That is more than enough for you, because these grids are going to fade away somewhere down the line when you are done with the plotting and filling and so on. So these grids will have to disappear eventually. So do not make it too strong that making them disappear becomes a challenge. Yeah. Then you will have to apply some extra colors and so on. So I use these earth colors, so it will blend somewhere down the lane very well with what I'm going to do, whatever I do, and not pop out. Um, if you have been watching my work, have seen my paintings, you will see that in some cases I do leave a very slight tint of the grid lines that I do. It's not that I want to deliberately show it, but if it shows, for me it is okay. um, from the point of view that this is how I have learned and this is how I have grown as an artist. So I like that also as my kind of my signature in some of the paintings, not on all. Depends on which painting it is. Sometimes, especially when I have a skyline in a painting, you will see that the rest of the grid is appearing somewhere on the top, and of course the other elements might be um, so overpowering that it will get hidden. So I don't mind showing it, but if you are someone who is conscious that I don't want to show it towards the end of my completion of my painting, then be aware of what you are using to draw the grid. Yeah, it does matter. So I'm just pulling the line across all the way through that 80 centimeters. So okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, isn't it? So for 6 boxes, 6 columns, we have the 5 lines. Okay. And when I talked about the 59.5 centimeter versus the 60 centimeter, um, this also depends upon the kind of wood that was used on the frame. So depending upon where you are buying and what type of wooden frame it is, the bend of the canvas could be slightly different. So it could be slightly over yeah, 45 millimeters or something like that. I don't know. It could be, depends on where you're buying. So be cautious on that. Um, when you're getting started with the gridding. Yeah. And the gridding technique, there are many other techniques as well. So you could use, depending upon what you are painting, you could use the golden ratio. That's another technique. I think I have touched upon it when I did the baby portrait. There is also something called dynamic symmetry, which I like. I have used it for a couple of paintings of mine where I wanted some, what do you call it? There was some sort of dynamism that I would like to represent, and I used it. So I have used that also. So doesn't matter what kind of uh, technique you are using. It's all mathematics, isn't it? So it comes back to your planning. What we did in the previous session really matters. That okay, does this grading technique do justice to what I want to do? That's how I select. For me, if I am attaching too many components and making references from various objects that will come and sit together in a very different way, then I would possibly use another technique than this, gridding method. This particular painting, in terms of this particular painting, I would say this idea itself, we were lucky with only having two references and not too many references. So, and the pretty much what we want is aligned in one of those references. So it makes sense that we use this kind of grading technique. Yeah. So now I am done with the vertical lines. I'm going to go over the same idea horizontally. So I move over like this. And for you, I think it's very lightly visible, the lines that I put. And that's exactly the meaning and purpose of it. We don't want it to be too strong. So when I do this measuring, what's going to happen? Is it going to be a 80? Maybe not. Let's see. So I put my finger like this. Yeah, you put your finger to the side and push this the scale or the ruler measuring tool towards your finger, and then you say it is definitely. So if you see my finger here, this is where 80 is, and I'm still very very minutely away from um, the border of the canvas. So it is definitely 79 and a half. So I'm going to push it slightly a bit, then I know that it's in between. Yeah, good. This is a good positioning. I'm happy with that. I'm going to start marking all the tens and 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. Let me do that again one more time. Slightly gauging my ruler with the measuring tool with my eye and placing it in between and going for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 70. Done. So now I'm ready to connect these. This is done. Connecting only after my tea. Okay. Enjoy each and every process. Try to relax and move around. Mm, we talked about it in one of our classes that it's important that we are taking care of ourselves while working on anything for that matter. um, but while especially working on large canvases, you may tend to feel uh, tired in the arms, shoulders, or pain, and so on if you are not moving much. So keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. Right. I think I'm done with this one. This line is done. It's really away from me and also from the camera, but I think we have survived this. Okay. One down. How many more lines? One, two, three, four, five, and six more lines. And then we are done with the gridding. Towards the end, I just have the habit of eyeballing and drawing the lines. I, with practice, you also tend to draw straight lines. If you're good at that, well and good. You don't need the ruler and so on to help, but still, measuring will be needed. Okay. What we will be able to do with the time that we have in this class is that we'll be able to finish the gridding. Of course, we can quickly get started with the drawing as well, yeah, with the sketching or drawing, whatever we call it, or plotting usually, yeah. So you're mapping or plotting what is to come where, isn't it? So it's not going to be a perfect drawing. It's going to be as rough um, and subtle as needed for us to get through the next stage. Yes. Right. We are coming close. In case you are faster than me, that is very good. If you're slow, that is also okay. You can always pause the video and go on doing this. Once you're done, you can reconvene. I'm nearly there with the last. Okay, I think I am done. So let me push it back into the format that we are working on, isn't it? So we are using this vertically, and I'm going to pull it slightly down so you're able to see the top of this um, canvas. This is where we get started. So let's now get started with the picture as such. This picture that I have already done the grids on, and I'm hoping you already have downloaded it. Um, the PDF file that I have, you have already downloaded it, and you have it with you ready, either on your laptop or gadget, or also a printed format. Yeah. So this is the picture. We are thinking on a lot of corrections. We did discuss that enough in our previous class. But right now, the aim is to go into the uh, basic outlining of where things are. Yeah. So I'm going to try to put them in and try not to go into details. This is also a challenge for me because for my if you have already seen some of my videos, I love going and starting with the eyes and doing a little bit of detail and so on. But I'm also going to try not to do that. I have it. So I have a paper clip that I use, and I have it clipped now. I'm going to get started with the left corner, the first box. So in gridding technique, the simple idea is to just follow the grids, isn't it? So could we just follow the grids and see where we are? Um, so the first ever grid is actually showing us that we are um, nearby the hand of Krishna, isn't it? And where is that? That's about, again, see, even though we have done the grids and we are mathematically so aligned, there's a lot of eyeballing needed because right now, look at the size. This is what we are seeing. It's a 3 by 3 centimeter. And over here, we have a 10 by 10 centimeter box. So just understand, this is what I usually teach. I'm going to just bring it slightly closer to you here so you can see. So when I eyeball, the way I do it is that I don't want to get into the details, but I want to understand how much of the space is this hand taking in the first grid. Okay, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing where it starts, where it ends. It's about 70 to 80% of the grid where his hand is starting, and it comes down and knocks the first grid here, um, almost 40% of it here, which means 60% is left. So there's a huge area in this particular block that is not used at all. It's not needed. So I see that there. So I'm just going on and to draw and to do the first level of sketching again. I'm using the same um, burnt umber color and the same zero brush. I haven't changed a thing from here. And do not be anxious to do so many things on the side. We're only focusing on even the hand because it's some some of the hand or the finger is actually crossing over to the next box. Yeah, but right now the focus is on, if I have to go by Excel worksheet way, this is A1. Yeah, so we are focusing on A1. So I'm moving my, I'm just checking where the finger is. The first, the top one that's holding on to the rails of the swing, and then the way the hand is going. And then there's a bend where you can see that he's got some armbands, bangles, whatever you call it. They are there. These are there. And that's how it comes close to the end of it. That's it. And this side of it, the finger, this is the folded little finger. So that's it. And I see where the bangles are coming, or the armbands are coming. And now I am ready to work on the next block of it. So I am seeing where the details of the fingers are. Eyeballing. Maybe I could bring the canvas a couple of steps down so it's even closer. Yes, you can see. Yeah, good. And right now I'm just drawing those lines or the ridges, the space in between the fingers. And then I cover it because I see that the part of the finger is in V1. Yeah. So I see that and I'm trying to show that also. So I think I have got it pretty much, but I see that there is, while I did it, it looks like it's a little more on the curvier side and I want to adjust it or rub it off. There are a couple of ways that I would like to do it. I also have, usually I like to have an earbud like this in my hand, or rag cloth, waste, tissue paper, anything will do. Um, and I try to rub off the section. It is still wet with the oil, so I'm just rubbing off the section where I want a slight improvement. I see that it could be better. Yeah, this is good. So I think I have knocked off the basics that I need here, and I'm just seeing a slight, the armband and the bangle, whatever is here underneath. So we are in A2. So I'm coming down to A2 to look at how the hand is going, where exactly. So I always say, again, where is the starting point in this line? Where is it touching? Which edge of the box or the grid is it touching? It's coming straight, but it's not really straight because it's bending. It's a hand. It is bending slightly, and then it comes down to somewhere over here, and I mark. So I know the starting point. I know the ending point. And I see, am I convinced with this? Should I correct it slightly? Maybe slightly, yeah. So before even drawing, I'm just eyeballing. And I see that, this is a very interesting knockoff. This is, I like these knockoffs where the four, the points where the grids are coming close. If there is some movement happening, it's easier for us to find. There is this hand, the elbows area, the inner side of it is just here. You cannot see much of it because it's also a lot of flowers and things. Are we going to draw these flowers in details now? No. The idea right now is for us to focus on having the key characters placed without any of the other elements. Yeah, that's when we'll be able to see any logical error or so. Remember, we talked about cutting off the noise, the noise that is created through the beauty of all these colors. That's why we are not able to see it objectively. So in order for us to see it objectively and make changes the way we want, it's also imperative that we simplify the picture. So I am just forgetting all those flowers and the details of the swing, and I'm just going for how the hand is, the elbow is, and so on. I'm just going like that. There's a bend in this hand because it is trying to catch hold of something there, isn't it? So there you go. Yeah. And the bend continues towards A3. So I'm assuming that you understand uh, the Excel worksheet idea. So if I talk in grid language, I'm just saying A, B, C, D, E, and F. And we are looking at the rows as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So right now we are in A3. Where is this coming to an end? It is curving up. Yep. Where is it going to hit? It's going to hit somewhere over here. That's what I think. Yeah, it's hitting here. So I have made that move. Done. Just looking at the time. How are we doing? We are good. Okay. And what happens here? We are now walking towards the B series and we are in B3 because I'm just continuing to work on Krishna's arm. Yeah, and it's coming close to his shoulder line, isn't it? Where is that shoulder line? Is it on this grid? No. Is it slightly away? Yeah. Okay. There's so many elements again. Let's try to simplify. Just drawing the line first and then see that, okay, this is where it is coming to an end to. There's a lot of noise because of the garland and so many things. Let's try to have only the armband because that is touching this grid, isn't it? It's touching the grid. That's how it is. That's the angle of this armband. It is slightly, yeah. That's how it is. Yeah. And now we come to a little more of his arm. We don't get to see much of his arm. Why? That is draped on a cloth. Yeah? It's called Angavastram. Okay. This is slightly interesting. I'm just going to do the basic of the Angavastram or the cloth that is draped on around his shoulder line, hiding kind of the shoulder line. And I see where is it ending? It's just somewhere close to the tip of this grid. Almost close to the tip of the grid. So I see that. I'm going to do that. Okay. And remember, always there is one line where that is showing the body, and then there is something draping the body. So it's slightly over. It's a minor thing, but it does make a difference. And remember, when it is draped, it's a cloth, and that shows off like bulge or slightly up and down movement. And this is the space where the garland is. Yeah. So I'm just going there. So let me come down here with this drapery, and I'll leave it like this here. Part of the drapery, if we have to do this, that is B3. Yeah, it's B3. What is there in B3? We did the arm. That's in B3. The cloth that is draping him, that's in B3. What else? Part of his body is also here, isn't it? That's very important, interesting, isn't it? So do we do directly that, or can we just plan a little bit from where we have touched base on? There are things that we have touched base on. The garland space. Where is it starting? Where is it ending? It's coming close to here. Yeah, it's crisscrossing close to this area. So I am now just connecting. I'm not bothered about the details of the garland, just making a line there. What else? The drape is also running around. It's got borders, but then it does show that. So I'm just looking at where exactly should it go. It starts very close to where the garland is, but then it is curving across and coming down here. Yeah, let's see. Hmm? That's where it is. And right now, it's important for us to mark the body. And though we are eyeballing, look at the thought process here. This is where if I have to draw this line, this is where the armpit has to come. It's hidden because of the drapery. If the armpit comes here, there's where the the chest or the bust line uh, should appear. That's where it should appear, isn't it? So you're just trying to eyeball that and see if that is the right place where the armpit curve, and then if we were to draw the armpit curve, where exactly will it come? Does it make sense? We still have to look into it. Can we come down slightly now to B4? That's where the chest and the hip line is. Hmm. Okay. And where is it ending? It's slightly before this line that we see. Okay, that's exactly where we see the hip coming to an end. Yeah, so I'm just trying to make that curve and bringing it and making a stop just before this curve. Yes, and this is where we cannot see much of the hip because he has got his right leg folded, and that's just creating this angle here. Let's do it the way it is. Yeah. I'm also, thinking of starting the corrections right away, but I don't want to. I want to just follow this and then do the correction so that you're able to see. Okay. Where is this knee point? The knee point is really in A4, but before that knee point, where is this cutting across? It's almost close to the top of this. Yeah. Top of this um, box. So I have kind of eyeballed it, and now I'm going to connect these two. That's how it's connecting. Yeah. Look at this. I've put a straight line kind of, but it isn't a straight line. We'll have to remember that it's a cloth strap, so it's going to be a slight up and down and up and down. And that's exactly where the corrections also get started with this. It's okay. I've just put some lines so that I'll remember, but then we'll correct it. When I do the corrections, I will do it in another color just for you to see why I do whatever I do. Yeah. Um, then I'm going to A4 to work on the knee. Okay, how is this going? How far of the um, A4 is the knee and also uh, the leg covering? Should it be here? It looks like that. Yeah, it looks like that. I'm going to do that. Looks like that, yes. Now we come down further. So I have to move this slightly upward so that you are able to see better. Okay. What is here? We are in A 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A5. What do we have here? It's a continuation of the leg. Okay, is that simple to mark? We just mark it off and we connect the line. Looks fairly thin. Why is this looking fairly thin as compared to what we have here? It's again the cloth, the way it is draped. Yeah. And we're only drawing straight lines. It's not going to be straight lines. So I'm just doing some kind of lines here so that we'll remember. So it comes back right now to A6. A6 has interesting elements. It has the foot. I love this. So I'm just going to do a bit of this clothing that is coming to an end here. So I see where exactly it is. It's going close to the grinds end, but not exactly there. So I see that I have done that, and right now the foot as such is starting and it's ending here almost. Okay, there's a lot of there are accessories that the god and goddesses are wearing on the foot as well. So just be careful of that. And I'm just looking, eyeballing where exactly is the mass of this whole um, foot going to be placed. It's here, yeah. So it's going to be touching down here. That's the touchdown point where the toe is. And then I see this is where the legs, the foot is, and I see, okay, that's where it comes down. So you cannot see much of it because of the jewelry here. And I see where exactly is this jewelry connecting. It's just connecting here. I'll do that. You cannot see much of the foot because of two things. One is the jewelry and also some clothing or something behind, I think. It's slightly confusing, but still, I think we can manage fine with the fingers, isn't it? So if we have to do the fingers here, we just leave some blocking spaces. We're not going into the details. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then we give the space for just looking at the leg. Leave the space for the large toe. Yes, done. Do we see the other side of the leg here? Very ever so slightly, because again it is covered by or draped by some more clothing. Should we do the draped clothing? We could. Yes. So we have managed to do up to this. I'm going to make a stop here and then cover a little bit on cleaning the brushes. So, like I said in the beginning, cleaning the brushes really plays a vital role of how the life of the brush is going to be and how much you will be able to effectively use it. And I'm going to just show you what I do in terms of cleaning. First of all, while working on the brush itself, if we have too much oil or paint coming in all the directions, the life of the brush is going to be really less. So even while working on it, keeping it clean as much as possible and only using the tip of the or the brush itself and not the metal is a good habit. But if you see, there will be slightly, colors coming because you're focusing so much on it. And the way I clean it isn't the best way all the time. There's always, umpteen methods of cleaning the brushes. um there are turpentine oil. There's so many other cleaning mediums that you can use. Again, for me, my nostril doesn't allow me to explore many options, so I have just gone through the basic, ever so basic method of cleaning the brush, which is with a dishwashing liquid. So what I have is just another dishwashing liquid, and this is something that is I wouldn't go by any brand. I am going by something that isn't so smelly, strong, and that I would use to wash my dishes. That is simply that. And I have that, and I'm going to take a little bit of that on a clean glass jar, empty, reusable jar. That's exactly what I'm going to do to clean the brush. So make sure that it is so dry, doesn't have water. Water really wastes your time and energy in cleaning. So without water, if you can pour slightly a bit, in my case, I have only one small brush, so I'm not going for too much of uh, um, the cleaning liquid. It's just a little bit of it. Depending upon if you have 4 or 5 brushes that you're cleaning together, you could have little more, but not too much. And I would just go on, um, yeah, moving the brush across like this until I see the color is coming out of the brush. And once I see the color is fully come out of the brush, I think I'm ready to wash the brush, and it takes a couple of minutes only. And then I clean once it is cleaned in the water, and I check that it's fully out of any of the color. Sometimes, the color catches on to the hair in the brush, but still it is clean. So it's really hard to check. So you need to really put your hand to check. So you do that, and then once it's washed, dry it and keep it. So that maintenance habit is also very important in terms of the life of the brush, which can be prolonged by your habits. I have been irregular about cleaning, and I know that I will lose the brush. Sometimes some of the brushes that are getting dry like this, that's the brush that you saw that I was using for the first layering. I want some brushes to be dry enough so that I'm using it as they are old, and it's okay for me to use it as much as possible for all the you know um, rough work. So unless and until I choose, I try my best to maintain these brushes, and that's how I feel that even store bought brushes can be maintained properly and can be used effectively. So that's my take on it. So let's just summarize what we did in this 1 hour. So today was um, the next level of planning what we did in the previous class. So we to just to summarize, what we did was to make the grids, 10 by 10 grids on the canvas. While doing those grids, we took care of the point that there could be a half a centimeter difference between what we think the size is and what it is. It's not because somebody gave you a what do you call uh, yeah wrong product or something. No, it's not that. It is just because of the type of wood that is used to do the framing, and there is a slight bend. Yeah, the way the wood is built, there might be a slight bend, and that will take about half a centimeter, or even less or more, depends on what kind of. So that we looked at, and even though it's minor, it is important for us when we are gridding. We did the grid, and once we did the grid, I just started off with a technique on how I go into the basics, eyeballing the end to end of the use of a grid, for the mass. I would say the mass is the right word to say. How much of the key character, how much of the mass of the key character is sitting in a particular box or a grid. And that's exactly what I was eyeballing and getting started with. And I will continue in the next class as well. We will do that. Continue to do all the grids and see. And we are using burnt umber color. I will try to use another color when we get to the level of changing the way this painting is looking. Yes. And towards the end, we did talk a little bit about maintaining the brush. Though it is not directly involved with this particular painting, I think it's a very important aspect that you will have to consider if you are going to be working on longer, um, you know, hours for, paintings like these. What kind of brushes do you have really does matter, and do maintain them properly. So that's what we covered in this whole session. Thank you very much for being with me, and we will continue in the next class to do the rest of these grids. Yes, thank you again. Bye.